Okay, so this is part 15 overall in the series, part 3 of the new mini-series in which we are critiquing the concept in esoteric philosophy of the Androgyne. So go back to, if you haven't heard the first part, go back with part 13 and catch up by starting with 13. I want to elaborate more on what I said about the incompatibility of the Androgyne idea with my own esoteric philosophy. It clashes with the idea of God as a person consisting of two aspects, this feminine and masculine polarity that correspond to God's body and his spirit, respectively. And oftentimes the best way to illustrate your point is to do a compare and contrast with other positions that you disagree with. It kind of enables, it allows your, I think it allows the, it allows you to strengthen your argument, because it makes the illustration a little more concrete, I think. So I am contrasting my position with the androgyne, with the position that to be in our ideal state as individuals, we must be androgynes. And I'm challenging both the esoteric view that of the, so there's two, like I said in part 1, there are two definitions of an androgyne. There's a being whose body has characteristics of both a male and a female. So I'm challenging that one, and I'm also challenging the second definition, which is found in, for example, Christian theology with the angels, where the angels are considered to be sexless. So that's the second understanding of an androgyne, is a being that is completely sexless. It has a body, a subtle body, but it has no sex. So let me explain first the problems with those two views, and then I'll go in, and then I'll elaborate a little bit more on my position, which I believe preserves the integrity of the person in a way that these other two views cannot. So if we accept the definition of a person as I have submitted it, and that goes for, my definition goes for God as well as for corporeal persons like us, then because there is a masculine and feminine polarity in the divine, that polarity is the basis for the manifestation or creation of persons who have either a female anatomy or a male anatomy. It is the basis for the existence of the polarity of male and female within the created realm. So God technically is sexless, if, in the sense that he is not corporeal, but no corporeal being, however subtle, can be entirely sexless like the angels are purported to be within Christianity, because of this masculine-feminine polarity that subsists within the divine person of God. We are what we are as males and females precisely because of that divine polarity. So that's my argument against the sexless angelic view of the Christian religion or worldview. My argument against the other definition of androgyny is very simple, where we have supposedly the characteristics of both a male and a female. If a person is, by definition, a spirit and a body, then that is intrinsically indivisible. A person cannot be divided, because an impersonal object can be divided. Like an apple, you can take a knife and cut it in half. But a person is elusive. It can't be cut in half like an object, like a inanimate object, or even like an impersonal being with life. So an animal has life, but you can't, it's not a person, so you can't use that as an example. Certainly you could cut up an animal, cut up its body into various parts. But the person in a human being is preserved, because the basic identity of the being is preserved. And its bodies, even if we're talking about multiple reincarnations, its bodies are preserved in the memory, so to speak, of the eternal spirit that it has from God. So because a person is indivisible, you couldn't, you can't split a person down the middle, so to speak, and create two separate persons. A person is the probably the most sacred and mysterious concept in all of religious or philosophical or metaphysical thought, because its existence cannot be denied, but it is too elusive to be pinned down, or something that can be split or cut up or divided or identified with a microscope or anything like that. So it's not possible to divide a person. So now to my position, how do we as humans show forth the nature of God in our finite corporeal instantiation? Well, in a couple of ways. So, as I've said, but I have to keep repeating this because it's really like the most important concept of all. Non-duality does not mean non-distinction or non-difference. It actually means the opposite. It includes difference or distinction. So the distinction between spirit and body constitutes the personhood of God, singular. So non-duality, a true or pure non-duality, relies upon duality. So duality and non-duality go together and make up the ultimate non-duality. And that being the case, the way in which we show forth the way God is in our individual corporeal existence is in a couple of ways. So, like God, we have both a spirit and we have a body, So that's one obvious way in which we reflect his image, or her image, either way. Also, each and every individual human being, whether you're a male or you're a female, internally has the masculine-feminine polarity that exists within God. So that's why we have, for example, in Hinduism, we have the three nadis, they're called, the Ida, the Pingala, the Ida nadi and the Pingala nadi, which exist on the left and right hand sides of the spine, and then in the middle you have the Sushumna nadi. Those three pillars, or nadis, so to speak, actually represent the three pillars of Kabbalah, the left and right and middle pillars, which is why Kabbalah often gets referred to by esoterics as Western yoga. And so one side represents the feminine, the other side represents the masculine, and it's important to integrate the two and to bring the energy up through the Sushumna nadi, or the middle pillar. And to bring that energy up all the way up through the head and even above the head to the Sahasrara chakra. So in two ways, by virtue of having a spirit and having a body, which constitutes a person, we are a reflection of the personhood of God. We're also a reflection of the personhood of God by the fact that within each and every one of us, be we anatomically male or anatomically female, we have the internal masculine and feminine polarity. But then, so that's kind of like the non-dual aspect of the divine as seen within the human being. And then there's the dual aspect of the divine as seen in the human being. The spirit, or I should say, how do I want to put this? Even though this is a little bit more difficult, so let me try to break it down. I want to break it down and make it really clear. We're not arguing for an absolute duality. So when I say that spirit, we associate spirit with the masculine and the body with the feminine, that's not a hard and fast duality. We're not saying that the spirit of God is only masculine and the body is only feminine. We are saying that chiefly we are associating spirit with the masculine and the body with the feminine. But in reality, they both aspects are fully integrated, such that you could say that the body, or the energy of Shakti, or the body, you could speak of the consciousness or energy, which is the feminine, as the consciousness or energy of Shiva, the masculine. And you could say that Shiva, the masculine, is the spirit of Shakti, the feminine. Either way. So both the masculine and the feminine are integral to both the spirit and the body of God. So that's why we can only speak of one person of God. So but because human beings are part of because we are part of the manifest realm, where people and objects appear to be entirely separate and not interconnected, we necessarily have bodies that reflect one principle or the other. Either a male body with male genitalia or a female body with female genitalia. Now, of course, there are aberrations. There are exceptions, such as hermaphrodites. But those are aberrations. That's nature committing an error, because that's obviously not the norm. But you can still determine a male from a female based on the genetics or the chromosomes. All right, so that's basically how I would explain my position. The problem with the one view, the androgyne view, that at one time we had both masculine and feminine features, or male and female features, is that a person can't be divided into two persons. A person is indivisible. Secondly, the reason we reject the Christian view, definition number 2 of an androgyne, a sexless entity such as an angel, that's not possible either, because God has the masculine-feminine polarity, which polarity is the basis for the polarity of the male and female in creation. Okay, that does it for this video, which is uncharacteristically long for this particular series. I've been trying to keep most of them shorter, but I really had to unpack all of that to make this make any sense.